From Starfire Sports Stadium, it's time for the Washington High School Boys Lacrosse 4A State Championship between the Eastlake High School Wolves and the Skyline High School Spartans. Hello, everybody. Casey Bryant here alongside Tim Luce for STSPN's coverage of Washington High School Boys Lacrosse. And Tim, this is going to be a marquee match between two teams that have earned their way to the championship. They've played each other before very tightly. This is going to be as exciting as it gets here for the 4A State Championship.
Absolutely, Casey. Last time they met up, ended in overtime. We should expect a nail-biter today.
It was a 13-12 overtime victory for Skyline back on April the 23rd, one in which Skyline had to come from behind in the fourth quarter. 5 goals in that fourth quarter to force the extra frame.
Absolutely. Yep, a nail-biter there on the edge of our seat, just like I am right now.
Now, Eastlake High School is one of those teams. They may have the superior win percentage, point percentage, but you can never count out Skyline, and a large reason for that is just the sheer number of talent and sheer number of goals that their attackmen have produced this season.
Absolutely. 4 kids from Skyline on the second team, all conference players, and one on the All-American, J.P. Jones, 27, a senior All-American for Skyline. Tons of talent backed up there to battle out with Eastlake tonight, and I'm excited, if you couldn't tell.
One of those guys that I'm looking at on the Skyline roster is Nick Vermeulen, who is one of the best scorers in his entire graduating class, really. He's got goals in 15 of 17 games this season. I mean, he's such a likable player because he goes out there and he's got such a lethal shot.
Yep, another All-American right there playing. He's a talent to be seen. I can't wait to witness what he brings today.
Now, countering for Eastlake High School here today, their 3 attackmen have combined for over 100 goals, and one of those guys is junior Anthony Grassi, and Grassi already has himself a pretty prestigious collegiate commitment ahead of him.
Absolutely, yep, committed to Rutgers, another All-American, second team, All-Conference. Absolutely, Anthony Grassi.
We're getting ready for the playing of the anthem. We turn you over now to public address. The starting lineups first for Skyline High School, wearing white with green trim. Up front, Ryan Edwards will be the attackman with Nick Vermeulen and Lincoln Fraser. At midfield, they'll have Connor Voigt alongside Josh Minold and Jacob McCandlish. On the back end playing defense will be Hank Mann with Andrew Roberts and J.P. Jones. Cole Miller will stand between the pipes. Meanwhile, for Eastlake High School, wearing black uniforms with maroon trim, up front, it is Anthony Grassi with Tyler Ortloff and Aiden Santini. At midfield, Wes Schmidt and Miles Johnson with Nolan Buddish. On the back end, Jake Aarons, number 1, will be out there with Quinn Bean, and Wyatt Gillette. Alex Call will stand in goal, and Alex Call, one of the toughest netminders to solve this entire postseason, a .524 save percentage throughout the campaign. As a junior, he has taken over the starting role from senior Connor Griswold. This is a very stingy Eastlake High School team that has put together a string of really good wins here in the playoffs. 3-0 this postseason, march their way to the championship. As they ready themselves for the start of tonight's contest, a reminder, the Seattle Lacrosse Club is the longest-running post-collegiate lacrosse team in the Pacific Northwest, dating back to the early 1970s. The current 30-man team has players from Bellingham to Tacoma and everywhere in between. 19 players played NCAA college lacrosse at schools such as Notre Dame, Denver, Army, Vermont, Marist College, my alma mater, Nazareth, Cabrini, and Mercyhurst, while the majority of the others played MCLA at the University of Washington. Most of the players are locally born and continue to coach for WHS BLA programs. Geez, that's nice. Ready for the start of the action as Eastlake will be running from right to left on your STSPN YouTube screen. Skyline in white, running from left to right. On the faceoff, Connor Voigt, won initially by Wes Schmidt and Eastlake, and away we go. Carried right on the right side, it is Nick Vermeulen, the dangerous scorer. 56 goals in the regular season for Skyline. Dishes it around behind the net. An early possession here for Skyline and the Spartans. Holding on the far wing, Connor Voigt. Dishes it to center of the field, looping around the perimeter. Nick Vermeulen, the senior. Directing traffic as he glides over towards the net. Around behind for Ryan Edwards. Hanging on to it, far side, Josh Minold. As he picks up some speed, cuts to the center, Minold, and he scores! 40 seconds into the action. It's Josh Minold, the junior, getting Skyline on the board. Terrific speed there shown by Minold, the midfielder. Shaking around the defender, and that is exactly the kind of start that you want to see there for Skyline, Tim.
Beautiful job gaining topside, hitting the top of the net, and putting the Spartans on the board.
Recognizes that soft space on the grass as he cuts over to his right. That's just terrific power as he cuts towards the center of the field. And you can see Vermeulen, he's directing traffic. He's one of the captains on the team who's been very vocal. Up the other way, here comes Eastlake on the attack, holding at the far side post of the goal. Out to Grassi, the junior. 38 goals throughout the regular season for Grassi as Eastlake retreats. Holding at center, Miles Johnson. A lively defense chant here from the green and white contingent. Skyline has traveled with a healthy fan base here. Holding on the outside, Riley Karahale. Flicks it over to number 35. Stepping forward, trying to get around a defender. Loses control of the ball. It was a good check there by James Ursich. Luce at the far post, knocked over. And picked up by Hank Mann. Hank Mann, one of the best ground ball men as he turns it over around behind, cutting in front to wrap around try. They score! Tyler Ortloff.
Wrapping the near corner, senior, hitting the upper right of the net. Wolves answer back.
That was a great job there by Ortloff as you see him pop right in front, and Cole Miller, the netminder, never really got situated to the shot.
Way to take advantage.
Tyler Ortloff, who had 26 goals in 16 games. His best outing was a 4-goal performance on April 29th at Mount Si. This playoffs, that is his 6th goal in 4 appearances. A face-off won by Eastlake. Back to work they go. 10:20 remaining here in the first quarter. Picking up some speed, starting up the right side. Hitting the brakes is Miles Johnson. As Eastlake goes for some changes. Slowing things down, getting it back towards center field. Taking that step up, Riley Karahale, midfielder, the senior. Karahale with a body in front of him. Crosses over, now to the far side of the box. Having a pick set for him, stepping forward is Grassi. Trying to lower the shoulder, power to the middle, nothing to it. Good defense there by J.P. Jones. Now twirling with it, Landon Johnson stepping forward. Johnson with one hand, flings it towards the net and sends it wide. That was Landon Johnson on the shot there. Johnson led Eastlake with 47 goals in the regular season.
Tyler Ortloff winning the chase for Eastlake.
And Ortloff will take possession, get it out to the center. Over to his right, hanging onto it is Santini, a dangerous attacker. Santini looking for a lane, harassed by Jones, gets it behind the net. Calling and receiving at the near post, now back out. Karahale over to his right, stepping forward is Grassi, gets around a defender. Grassi looking for a lane and scores! Anthony Grassi!
Hank Mann on the defender there. Just was losing topside left.
And look at this underhand shot there by Grassi. There's a heavy amount of traffic in front of the netminder, but that is the kind of sniper ability that Grassi brings to the table. A 2-1 Eastlake lead, 9:05 remaining in the first quarter. And Anthony Grassi, who is only one of 5 players with double-digit goals in this playoffs, he has 10. Extends his goal-scoring streak to 8 games now here in the championship.
Get a push called against the Spartans there. Eastlake will regain.
And Eastlake now has, since the opening tally that came just 40 seconds into the contest, possession has been all Eastlake. Miles Johnson, who has seen significant time on the field as a sophomore, one of the rising stars at the 4A level. Seeds control of the ball, now stepping up the right side. Getting it over to Grassi. Sends it in front, and a save made by Miller. Loose ball behind the Spartans' net. And harassed and losing a good aggressive attempt there by Tyler Ortlaw. A scrum for the ball in the near side corner, and a whistle will blow. And possession to Eastlake.
Aiden Santini brings the ball into the Wolves, and miscommunication there.
An air ball out towards center of the field, trying to race for it is Owen Seatall. Getting it right back are Eastlake. Calm, cool, and collected as Santini starts towards the net, hops around behind. Santini keeping his legs churning, gets a defender to blow a tire at the outside post, and that just hit off the side of the twine. And we'll get a stoppage. The ball was stationary on the back of the net. And he was able to get a lane for himself because he tripped over the own post at the far side.
You can hear the crowd. They call that a mom goal because the moms are going crazy thinking it was in the net.
Under 8 minutes to play here in the first quarter. Grassi will retain possession of the ball. Cutting over to his left. Sends it over to Landon Johnson. Shakes one way, cuts another. Eastlake retaining possession. The Spartans have 3 attackmen waiting at center. They've been waiting for an opportunity to get the ball back, but it has been all Eastlake. A high pass fielded by Grassi, and he scores. What a dime of a feed. And Anthony Grassi has his second of the contest already. 7:32 remaining in the first.
Johnson finding him wide open. To Grassi hitting top down and extending the lead for the Wolves.
And what a start here for Eastlake, who have scored 3 times now on 4 shots on net. And taking a look between the pipes at Cole Miller. He's someone who was 14-4 in the regular season with a .526 save percentage. In the playoffs, he was 6 for 13 on shots heading into today's contest. But early pressure has Eastlake with a 2-goal lead. And these faceoffs become oh so important because right now Skyline needs to find a response here with possession, and they win. Josh Minole fields the ball, stepping forward, and a shot. The save made by Alex Call.
Quick give and go down the middle. Great save. Great focus.
Call a sturdy frame in net, and he'll field the ball. Call someone who was unafraid to join the fray here and help distribute the ball around. Call a junior. 26 for 32 heading into today's contest in playoff shots on goal. Riley Karahale has a defender draped all over him as he cuts over to his right. It was Hank Mann who was taking up a lot of space on the back end. Possession right back to Eastlake. Ortlaw starting forward, looking for a lane towards the net. Defender in front of him, and Will Magnuson gets around him, and a bouncing shot is sent wide.
Aiden Santini getting the stick out, backing up Eastlake.
And you can see Ortloff there trying to find his way around the big body of Will Magnuson, one of the seniors. His first year on varsity, but boy, has he become an important part of this defensive core. Spin move, cutting out in front. Backdoor pass, they scored!
Wow, what a quick stick by Santini right on the crease. What a game.
And look at this pass here on the far side. That is another beauty here for Landon Johnson. And 6:26 remains in the first quarter. It is a 4-1 lead for the Eastlake Wolves. Right now, those passes are wide open in front of the net there, Tim.
Johnson capitalizing every time he sees it. What a good look at building his assist stats today.
Now, Landon Johnson is someone who in the regular season was used to scoring himself. 47 tallies. It led the team, but the first 4 not been by him. Instead, he's building on what was 26 assists in the regular season. And back to work. Here they come. That's the save made by Miller.
Santini into the turf there, getting down Miller to stop goal.
Perhaps the most important save of the game here so far for Miller, as he needed a stop here. And Skyline in transition. They get it over to the right side. Nick Vermeulen. Around behind the net, Lincoln Fraser, the sophomore. Quick ball movement out to Nick Boucher. Over to his left for Connor Voigt. A let's go Skyline chant up from the contingent. Fraser has a body in front of him. Retreating. Now dueling chance here. Stepping forward, spinning around is Fraser. Sends it down low. Edwards has his back to the net. No shooting lane available. He distributes out towards Voigt. Slowing things down are the Skyline Spartans. As Lincoln Fraser trying to establish some offensive zone time and give their defenders a reprieve.
Getting the ball back behind GLE and behind the cage. Get a breather right before he goes to work here.
Good spin moves, cutting out in front to the far post and knocked down to the turf. And a flag will be thrown. Scooped up by Vermeulen. Gets it around behind to Edwards. Edwards has his pass batted out of the air. And knocked well out of play, and we'll get a whistle with 4:48 remaining in the first quarter.
That'll be the first flag of the game. Will go against Quinn Bean, the junior, second team All-King County defenseman. He'll take a knee in his box.
And a prime opportunity for Skyline to stop the bleeding. In need of a response, it is a 4-1 lead here for Eastlake. To work on the attack. Edwards sends it out to Vermeulen, cuts over to his left. Vermeulen around the perimeter. Voigt down low, quick passing, finds his way to Vermeulen, winds up and scores!
Right over the top, Vermeulen does what he does best, finding the back of the net.
Nick Vermeulen on the stat sheet. And it is now 4-2. And Nick Vermeulen, in their playoff win against Sumner, was a major part of the offense. 12 points. Part of 12 of the 20 goals scored for the Spartans to make their way to the championship. And Vermeulen, the senior, someone who has scored 126 goals over his last 3 years, an all-important part of this Spartans offense. Coming up big in the first quarter. 4-2, face-off. Bouncing into Eastlake territory, but it'll be scooped up by the Wolves. Knocked out. Battle forward along the near sideline, and it trickles out of bounds. And they will return to use Eastlake point. Eastlake has their airborne pass knocked away. Good effort there by Josh Manold. Pressure provided. Crossfield pass finds its way to Edwards, who starts ahead for Eastlake. Ryan Edwards stops up on the left side. Hands it off now, and a chance for Landon Johnson to set up shop on the offensive side of things. Over to his right for Schwager. Sent behind the Spartans' net. This is where the Wolves love to establish their offense. They do so much good work around behind the cage. Airborne pass in and out of the stick of Karahale. He'll settle it back down. Drifting up the right side, gets around a defender. Look out, he cuts in front, and a seminal pass is broken up. Good interception out of the air there by Miller.
Again by Miller, getting that out in front. And stop and play there.
Here comes Vermeulen with speed. Vermeulen charging over to his left. Edwards down low. A point chance to score.
Lincoln Fraser, the sub, finding himself wide open at far side of the crease and nails one.
For Fraser, his 6th goal of the postseason. Had 5 in their playoff win against Sumner. A sophomore in his second full season on varsity.
1-point game in the first. This is some great lacrosse.
And this is good response here from Skyline. It seemed like possession was all Eastlake, but this is what you have to admire about the Spartans.
Just like you said in the beginning, Casey, we can never count out the Spartans.
They are a resilient bunch. Cutting in as Ortloff around to a backdoor pass, bouncing in, and they score.
You get it.
A terrific feed. Versus with the feed there from Ortloff.
The Lads are back. Way to go, Wolves. Now up by 2. 2:46 left in the first.
And with 2:46 remaining in the first quarter, it is 5-3 Eastlake, and we'll take ourselves a timeout. We'll toss it to break. You are watching and listening to STSPN's coverage of the WHSBLA 4A State Championships.
Lacrosse Wolf is the Northwest premier supplier for
SWCC is an acronym, and it stands for Special Warfare Combatant Craft Crewman.
You know, you can stand across from the guy and say, you know what, he's got your back, and you know that's the guy you're counting on. If something goes wrong, he's going to be there.
In the end, we're fighting for each other.
Here on the team, about 22 of us on the boat. You know them personally, so you know exactly whose life you have in your hands.
Everyone's come together, and everyone's sole mission is to do their job individually as best they can to benefit everyone else in the boats.
I got a brotherhood, and it's a real brotherhood, and it's a loyal and honest brotherhood.
2:48 remaining in the first quarter. Casey Bryant here with Tim Luce is quickly back in coming the Eastlake Wolves as they lead at 5-3, hunting for more, and his shot is deflected high and out of bounds. That one came off the stick of Anthony Grassi.
Wes Schmidt, the junior for Eastlake, coming out of faceoff really quick this time.
We've seen 2 goals from Grassi, 2 goals from Aiden Santini to help Eastlake to a 2-goal advantage so far. Ortloff and Miles Johnson have been very active in distributing the ball as Schwager carries up the right side, sends it around behind the net. Near sideline, Ortloff. Playing the perimeter. Kara Halle gets around the defender. Kara Halle with a pass down low. Back out and over the head, and it bounces out to center. Trickling towards the center line. Skyline trying to dig it over to their half. And possession to the Spartans. Edwards over to Vermeulen, now trying to push the pace. Man open down low, they couldn't find their way to him. He's calling for it was Lincoln Fraser. Fraser, who scored the 3rd goal of the contest here for the Spartans. Ryan Edwards, one of their captains. Crossing over to Boucher. Finding Vermeulen near wing, around behind Edwards. Playing keep away.
Jackson Stacy, far side.
Stepping forward with it is Boucher, leaning against the midfielder in Miles Johnson. Now handing off. Vermeulen, quick passing in front to the chance. And a good save made there by Call.
Alex Call getting big inside the crease there, snagging one out of the air and saving one from the back of the net.
Call, who was 13-4 in the regular season, has come with a pair of dazzling stops for Eastlake.
And across midfield line, the Wolves now on approach once again.
Good speed shown by Landon Johnson. Now he'll slow it down. Coach Dylan Hummel getting some changes for Skyline as they head back into their own defensive zone. Hummel, in his first season as head coach of Skyline, came over from Snohomish High School, where he was 38-19.
Gives the ball to Monaghan, far side.
Around behind now, over to Ortloff, through whom the offense seems to flow. Ortloff cedes control over to Santini. Aiden Santini with a shot, the save made by Millen.
Santini trying to get the question mark around the crease near side. Martin's moving the other way, finding the good grass down to Vermeulen.
J.P. Jones with a pass out to center, and that's an errant trickling ball out to the far side. And James Urshich will control.
I was wondering where we were going to find J.P. Jones, and there he is.
And we'll get a stoppage and a timeout as Skyline wants to chat things over as they had possession in the offensive zone. And we'll take a timeout ourselves. You're watching and listening to STSPN's coverage of Washington High School Boys Lacrosse, the 4A State Championship. Don't go anywhere. Back now for the start of the second quarter. They let time elapse, and so first quarter comes to a close. Eastlake up 5-3 over Skyline. Tim, what did you see there in what was an overall a back-and-forth first quarter?
Back and forth, a lot of Connor Voigt at faceoff matching up against Wes Schmidt. And they're still on the ground now. Ball's been down for a couple seconds there. Long battle at faceoff midfield here. And I believe you said it in the last quarter here, faceoff is going to be super detrimental to how this game is played.
And I tell you, there were a bunch of big saves down the stretch there. Alex Call, and once he found his footing, Cole Miller with a great job to keep Skyline in this. As up with speed now, here comes Riley Carahale. Eastlake now cutting left to right on your STSPN screens. As Carahale controls around behind, he's marked by Ursich. And a flag thrown as Eastlake with possession. Holding at the top, it's Schwager. Over to his left, finds its way to Ortloff. Ortloff directs traffic around behind the net. Ortloff gets it back. With speed, back out. Drifting towards the center circle here at Starfire Sports Stadium. Now Grassi has a big-bodied defender in front of him in J.P. Jones, the senior. Grassi trying to get around him. He's held up by a defensive stick. Gets around Jones. Now Grassi finding his way towards the middle. Has the ball stolen away from him. A great stick check there by Connor Voigt. Connor Voigt incredibly active in his playoff game against Sumner. He had 14 loose ball retrievals in that one. He is such a ball hawk when it's down on the ground.
Yeah, and match him up with J.P. Jones, first team King County All-American. Really tough to get past the front three in front of the crease there.
He had 99 ground ball retrievals in the regular season. One away from the century mark as Grassi now holds. Stepping forward over to Ortloff. Offensive zone opportunity after the flag thrown. Minute and a half gone by here in the second quarter. Eastlake trying to extend their lead to 3. Santini out in front for Grassi. Flicks it down low towards the net. It's batted out in the air. Good job there by Ryan Clarich.
Santini recovers.
Back out now in a chance. Santini with a shot and a save made by Miller. Miller 5 for his last 6 in shot attempts. Now up with speed. Here come the Spartans. The long stick of J.P. Jones. Sending it over to his left. Bobbled for a moment by Fraser. He gets it back. Fraser has Jones over to his right. He'll direct traffic. Around behind the net to Nick Vermeulen. The senior who got to play with his brother last year when Skyline made their way to the championship. They were the runner-up in last year's states. Holding on to it, Ryan Edwards. Edwards with a pair of goals in their playoff win against Sumner. Hits the brakes, spins it over to the near post. And you see what a good job Eastlake is doing of locking down the front of the net. There's no one in the box.
Yeah, they can't even get around GLE, keep them in the alley the whole time. Eastlake doing very well on defense.
Vermeulen trying to spin away from Ahrens. Ahrens harassing him over at the far side point of the goalkeeper's box. Jackson Stacy out towards the center of the field, and a whistle will blow and we'll get a stoppage. As Vermeulen and Ahrens were tied up in front of the net, and they'll both get a talking to from the officiating crew. 8:56 remaining in the second quarter. An extended conversation going on right now with the referee and the junior Jake Ahrens. Ahrens, who was a late addition to this Eastlake squad, he didn't play any games before May 2nd. And since coming on, has been an integral part of this team.
Really batted away there. Conrad Lee for side.
Starting over towards his left, it's Boucher holding on to it. Boucher searching for a passing lane. He finds it over to Edwards. Ryan Edwards spinning over to his left. Low shot is sent wide. Possession still to Skyline.
Fraser in the backfield for the Spartans. He'll wrap around now.
And a shot that's sent wide. Lincoln Fraser, the sophomore, trying to be the trigger man. So many of these offensive chances are coming from in close for Skyline. They're not getting much from distance, which is, you contrast that with Eastlake. Eastlake is able to shoot from anywhere. Here's Edwards. Oh, my goodness.
Behind the back, Ryan Edwards, the junior from the north side of the beats. Oh, my.
Oh, the highlight film. It's Ryan Edwards. They don't come much flashier than that, and that pulls the Skyline Spartans within one. And you see the reaction there from James Ursich. That says it all. He puts his hands on his head.
You just don't see too many takes like that in a championship game. Well done.
That is someone who is a confident goal scorer. 36 in 18 games in the regular season. And Ryan Edwards pulling the Spartans within one, and the Spartans get the ball back, a chance to equalize. Here comes Boyd. A pass over, no shot, missile wide. Jackson Stacy with the release. Possession still to the Spartans, and you can sense the crowd beginning to titter as the Spartans have a chance to pull back even, which they have not been since 40 seconds into the contest. Josh Minold over to his left, Lincoln Fraser. Fraser chased all the way back towards center, looks to set up shop. You've got Nick Boucher planting himself in front of the netminder. And starting forward with it is Fraser over to his right. Lofty pass around behind. Edwards takes a heavy check and is knocked down to the turf. Flag is drawn. Edwards around behind to Boucher. Quick passing off the stick of Fraser. Kept in the offensive zone. A good job there by the Spartans. Stepping forward from
Swimming inside between two defenders. Insane, showing his ability to get around. Sticking back in the net to Newton.
Once down 4-1. Skyline has pulled back even. It's 5-5 with 7:12 remaining here in the second quarter. Nick Vermeulen, his second goal of the contest. And this is a terrific response out of Dylan Hummel's team. And if you're chasing Montoya, so much of the offense begins right here on the faceoff dot. You need Wes Schmidt to start coming up with some big victories.
Absolutely. Got to take control right out of the beginning. Get your offense and look.
And there it is. A big face-off win there for Schmidt as he swims his way around the defender. Draws a whistle as he's hauled down to the turf.
Get a timeout called for Eastlake there as soon as they gain possession. And the Blue Birds come out with the Spartans.
A reminder that the Seattle Lacrosse Club is the longest-running post-collegiate lacrosse team in the Pacific Northwest, dating back to the early 1970s. The current 30-man team has players from Bellingham to Tacoma and everywhere in between. 19 players played NCAA college lacrosse at schools such as Notre Dame, Denver, Army, Vermont, Marist Red Foxes, Nazareth, Cabrini, and Mercyhurst, while the majority of the others played MCLA at the University of Washington. Most of the players are locally born and continue to coach for WHSBLA programs. Geez, that's nice. You are watching and listening to STSPN's coverage of Washington High School Boys Lacrosse, the 4A State Championship. We're tied at 5. Don't go anywhere.
Lacrosse Wolf is the Northwest premier supplier for
7:06 remaining in the second quarter. 5-5 here in the 4A State Championships between the Eastlake Wolves and the Skyline Spartans. Casey Bryant here with Tim Luce. As Eastlake with possession of the ball, they have ceded what was once a 4-1 advantage, trying to reclaim the lead. Holding on the outside, Ortloff distributes out to center. Lakers takes the step up. It is Santini. Jukes his way over to the center of the field. Dishes over to his left, rising shot, getting a piece of it, Miller.
Miller standing, springing out to stop that something in the cage.
And a defensive pickup and a big one by Hank Mann. Limiting the opportunity to just one shot now. Airborne pass is trickling over to the far side of the field. Scooped up and carried out.
Roberts, the default, scooping it up, getting across midfield.
And with speed back in they come, taking a chances for Mule, and he bounces it wide. But that's such a huge pickup there. Roberts, who had 4 grounders in the first playoff game for them, to get it out like that, that's great transition.
Absolutely. Got to clear the ball and do it with speed. That's the way to get your offense going.
Josh Minold, the junior, sends it over towards his right. Slowing things down is Boucher. They call him Bobby in honor of the water boy. Vermeulen out towards Nick Boucher, who wore the number 3 his first 2 years. He wears 33 this year. Over to his right. Vermeulen cutting to his left. Finds a man. Near side post is Edwards. Trying to juke his way around Gillette. Gillette sticking with him. Edwards pops out far post, and getting just enough of it was Alex Call. This will be out of bounds, but possession still to the Spartans.
Fraser on the backside, able to back it up for the Spartans there. That's great IQ, taking the shot, knowing that your teammate's able to back it up.
And Edwards will patrol. Deep behind the net, harassed by Gillette. Sends it over to the far wing. Cutting over to the center, Boucher. A bouncing shot that's blocked in front. And Eastlake.
Jake Arns getting out in front of that one. Wearing one for the Wolves. And here he is again, far side, sending it up. Almost picked off by Vermeulen.
A Hail Mary of a pass that found its way all the way out to center, and Eastlake will keep control of the ball. Starting up with speed on the left side. Around behind to Santini. Aiden Santini, the sophomore. Santini, who scored his 10th goal of these postseason and 11th of the playoffs to give a lead to Eastlake, but lost the control of the ball, and Skyline will hang on.
I think a little of that had to do with the deep hole. Number 19, Hank Mann, behind the cage there, putting the stick on him and kind of extending his pass a little wild there.
Mann, the junior, a good offensive presence for Skyline in transition, and you see Miller way up to help.
There's Mann once again with a pass.
Good headman pass, finds its way to Minold. Over to Edwards on the left side. Skyline starting to get very aggressive with their offensive attack. 4 minutes remaining here in the second quarter. Tied at 5. Out to the center of the field, Nick Boucher leans against the midfielder, getting over to his left. Starting up Edwards, he's got a lane to the net, looks it off and sends it behind. Lincoln Fraser loses control of the ball. It's scooped up and carried out by Eastlake. Good play there by Budish. And he has it checked away from him. Battle for it at the center of the field. It's picked up by Skyline. And possession to Eastlake.
They'll get a push call here, and you hear the fans don't like the call from the officials.
And you can see that was a heavy hit thrown there by Josh Minold. knocking a man down, and that opens up some space for Eastlake. Charging forward, taking it himself. Over to the backdoor pass, in and out of the stick.
Pitch right off the tip of the cross there and out of bounds.
Tyler Ortloff losing control of the ball on the doorstep, punching over. He can't believe it.
Tough break for the Wolves there. Spartans taking control once again.
And so it will be the goaltender Miller. Starting forward with the ball with 3:10 remaining here in the first half. Miller fields the pass and starts forward. Surveying the field, distributing over to his right. He finds a man in Andrew Roberts.
Roberts, 2 defenders on him, having to get the ball away. Looks like he'll get a timeout for Skyline just in time.
Well, you wouldn't have guessed it from the first few minutes that were played here, but we've got ourselves a goaltending duel on our hands. It's 5-5 with 3 minutes remaining in the first half. We're back in just a moment. You are listening and watching STSPN's coverage of Washington High School Boys Lacrosse 4A State Championship. Don't go anywhere.
SWCC is an acronym, and it stands for Special Warfare Combatant Craft Crewman.
You know, you can stand across from the guy and say, you know what, he's got your back, and you know that's the guy you're counting on. If something goes wrong, he's going to be there.
In the end, we're fighting for each other.
Here on a team, about 22 of us on the boat. You know them personally, so you know exactly whose life you have in your hands.
Everyone's come together, and everyone's sole mission is to do their job individually as best they can to benefit everyone else in the boat.
I got a brotherhood, and it's a real brotherhood, and it's a loyal and honest brotherhood, and that's what matters.
Casey Bryant, Tim Luce back on STSPN's coverage of the 4A State Championship for Washington High School Boys Lacrosse. It is deadlocked at 5 with 3 minutes remaining here in the first half. Starfire Sports. And we're very thankful that you could join us here on this morning. And Tim, this has been quite the back and forth battle. I tell you, the saves being made here in this morning. It's been superb from Colin Miller.
And it doesn't quit now, rolling out of the face-off, literally on the turf. Nick Vermeulen and a penalty flag far side. The excitement just does not quit here in the 4A championship.
Skyline trying to get their first lead of the contest. As slowing things down behind the net, it is Vermeulen. He's got a body right in front of him in Miles Johnson. Fakes one way, cuts around another. Johnson with him, stride for stride. Pass over to the near side. Pumps to a shot. That's blocked. Wearing that one was Nolan Budish.
Budish looks like he took that one on the elbow. Didn't even shake it off. What a tough defensive play there.
That is a terrific move there by the sophomore Budish, who has become a key part of this defensive scheme, played in 16 of the 18 games for Eastlake in the regular season.
Binold now near side.
Binold with possession. He's marked by Budish, who is no worse for wear after blocking that one up high. And we'll get a late change here for Jason Montoya in his 4th season as head coach for Eastlake High School. He was an assistant for the 2019 state championship team.
Spartans now man up, really needing to capitalize on this possession here.
Vermeulen around behind Devoit. Handing off to Fraser. As Fraser and Vermeulen will huddle together trying to pull the hidden ball trick, perhaps. They get it out to Voigt, crossing over now to Boucher.
Eastlake not falling for the trickery here.
Well, that's a gutsy call. Holding at the near post, trying to center it out. A bouncing pass, hops past Vermeulen. All the way towards the sideline, and possession will go to Eastlake.
Looks like Jake Ahrens will take control for the Wolves' far sideline. And Vermeulen will be in chase across midfield.
Eastlake carrying it up with a lot of open space to work with. 1:40 remaining in the first half. We're still tied at 5. Holding on to it is Jake Ahrens. And we'll get a whistle and a stoppage in play and believe Coach Montoya will use another timeout. Trying to set one last play in motion here before the end of the first half.
Absolutely. You've got to try and make the best of every tick on the clock, and there's not many left.
It's a tight one here at Starfire Sports Stadium. Casey Bryant, Tim Luce back with you in just a moment. You're watching and listening to STSPN's coverage of the 4A State Championship. Don't go anywhere. .136 remaining here in the first half. 5-5 your score between Skyline and Eastlake. Eastlake with possession trying to reclaim the lead. Holding onto it is Schwager, starting forward on the right side. Hitting the brakes, crossing over to Ortloff, who has been locked down after what was an electric first quarter. Ortloff over to his right, takes a few light stick checks there from the defender Roberts. Twirling with it on the right wing. You can see J.P. Jones, one of the defensive captains for Skyline, arm in the air, trying to direct his defenders around. Good adjustments have been made against this electrifying Eastlake offense as Ortloff is around behind the net. Ortloff getting some support from Landon Johnson behind.
Roberts sticking with him the whole time, keeping him in the alley and out of the house.
40 seconds to go here in the second quarter. Out in front and a chance stepping forward. A bounce shot is sent line. That came off the stick of Jackson Stacy taking the step up. J.C. didn't have a whole lot of room to shoot.
Sneaked through two defenders and just barely tried to get one out.
30 seconds to go. Eastlake still with possession. Time ticking away. Cutting out in a rising shot. Misses well on. That one came off the stick of Landon Johnson.
J.P. Jones in the backfield for Skyline, winning possession there, sending it way across midfield.
Hail Mary to Edwards. Waning seconds of the half. Pass out in front. A stuff-in try is rejected by Eastlake. 5 seconds to go. Stepping forward. Quick passing over and a heavy check in front. And that will do it. And we'll get a whistle and a stop.
Body Fraser takes the turf.
Now I'm curious here because the clock on our side was ticking down, but the clock inside the stadium had froze with a minute left. And it appears that the statisticians by the sideline have caught the mistake and will rightfully call the end of the first half, I believe. Now they believe that they are slowing things up and believe that is halftime. 5-5 your score, and Tim, what a first half there, and what was a lot of scoring back and forth. I mean, this has been as good defensive pure lacrosse as you can find there in the second quarter.
Yeah, we've said it from the beginning, and we're sure going to say it through the rest of the game. It's going to come down to face-off, I believe, who's going to take it from the beginning, who's going to get their offense started and provide the best look to get the back of the net.
We thank you so much for tuning in here on STSPN's coverage of the 4A State Championship. Be sure to tune in all day as right after this one, the 1A, 2A Championship. Tim and I will be here to cover it all for you as a marquee matchup following up as Bellingham trying to capture their state title against Enumclaw. A reminder that the Seattle Lacrosse Club is the longest-running post-collegiate lacrosse team in the Pacific Northwest, dating back to the early 1970s. The current 30-man team has players from Bellingham to Tacoma and everywhere in between. 19 players have played NCAA college lacrosse at schools such as Notre Dame, Denver, Army, Vermont, Marist College, Nazareth, Cabrini, and Mercyhurst, while the majority of others have played MCLA at UW. Most of the players are locally born and continue to coach for WHSBLA programs. Gee, that's nice. 5-5 your score. We'll take a quick timeout. You're listening to STSPN's coverage of the 4A State Championship.
Lacrosse Wolf is the Northwest premier supply.
SWCC is an acronym, and it stands for Special Warfare Combatant Craft Crewman.
You know, you can stand across from the guy and say, you know what, he's got your back, and you know that's the guy you're counting on. If something goes wrong, he's going to be there.
In the end, we're fighting for each other.
This is Witch Doctor requesting immediate hot extract taken on.
Here on the team, you know, about 22 of us on the boat. You know them personally, so you know exactly whose life you have in your hands.
Everyone's come together, and everyone's sole mission is to do their job individually as best they can to benefit everyone else in the boat.
I got a brotherhood, and it's a real brotherhood, and it's a loyal and honest brotherhood, and that's what matters.
Back at Starfire Sports Stadium, Casey Bryant here with Tim Luce for the second half of the Washington Boys Lacrosse State Championship at the 4A Division. 5-5 is your score, Skyline and Eastlake. Eastlake has gotten goals from Ortloff, 2 from Grassy, and 2 from Santini. Meanwhile, Skyline with an opening goal from Josh Minold. 2 goals off the stick of Nick Vermeulen. A goal for Lincoln Fraser and for Ryan Edwards. Tim, it was a really back-and-forth contest that tightened up defensively as the first half wore on here. I would expect to see some electrifying, hard-hitting, desperate lacrosse being played here in the second half.
Absolutely. Desperate lacrosse, indeed. The title is on the line. Ball is about to drop right now.
These are 2 teams that are heavily laden with senior leaders appearing in what they will have their last lacrosse game be, and they would like to go out with a W, being able to hang a banner at their field. And possession to Skyline to start things on.
Boy, the battle out at midfield once again. Excellent effort put out by him.
Skyline in white with green trim and green helmets. Running from left to right on your screen. Eastlake High School, the Wolves in their black uniforms with maroon and white trim. It's Edwards distributing out. Looping around the perimeter, it's Minold, who does so well with the ball in his cradle.
Minold's been doing a great job at point man for the Spartans tonight.
And you can see him distribute down low. A chance for Edwards spinning off a defender. Edwards, more diminutive in stature, unable to cut towards the middle of the net. A pass out and a rising shot, getting a piece of it call. Loose ball over at the far post is scooped up by Eastlake's defense. Terrific reach there by Quinn Bean.
Second team, all King County. Quinn Bean sends one up to midfield, now across. Eastlake on approach.
And Eastlake with possession as they get it around behind the net. It is Grassy slowing things down. Anthony Grassy, 10 goals, 3 assists heading into today's contest. He's got 2 more.
Grassy's a D1 Rutgers commit.
A lot to look forward to in his history. He's still got 1 more year of high school ball left, so that is a bright future for that young man. Over around behind the net. Minute 40 gone by in the third quarter. Slowing things down is Aiden Santini. Santini, who had 7 hat tricks in the regular season, one of the more talented scorers for Eastlake. The ball is held up, and J.P. Jones with the steal. They dish it back to Miller, who is always involved in the redistribution of the ball, but he throws it away, and it's picked up by Jake Ahrens.
Ahrens taking abuse.
And an overhead check there. A good shot to keep on forward. Hits the truck stick on his way in. Body strewn all over the turf. Possession to Skyline. Play back and on. It is Ryan Edwards up the other way as the crowd comes alive. Out to J.P. Jones.
J.P. Jones, the long pole, he'll rip.
And a bouncing shot misses significantly over to the near side post. And possession to Eastlake. And Jones aggressive shooting it. Normally a defender, but he's someone that gets involved in the offense. He had 4 goals in the regular season.
Gotta love it when the long poles get involved. Such velocity coming off the end of the stick there. Lucky he went wide right of the cage.
Transition game now for the Wolves. 9:15 remaining in the third quarter. Miles Johnson gets around a defender as he's got James Ursich chasing him all the way back into the far corner.
Johnson, another second team all-conference player.
He'll be replaced as Coach Montoya gets some substitutions, some fresh blood out.
Cooper Monaghan coming off the sideline for Eastlake.
It is Grassy holding on. Losing control of the ball at center. That's another good stick check there by Ursich. Keeping possession is Grassy as he speeds forward, hits the brakes, spins with it over the center of the field, and he's knocked down heavy.
Ursich puts the stick into his chest, push ground ball. He's able to scoop it up. Spartans going the other way.
And boy, can you tell that the strategy is to drape yourself all over Grassy here in the second half?
Absolutely. Put the strain on the attacker and stop ball.
Now, Grassy is not the biggest player out there, too, so you get the sense that if you can take the body on and play physically up against him, that might be the way to slow him down.
just try and stop that right hand. Even though he's really good with his offhand as well, you just try to take away his dominance.
And so Vermeulen enters in for Skyline. Vermeulen sends a round behind to Frazier. Frazier, who recorded his first career goal back in the season opener, wasted no time. Had 7 hatties in the regular season, including 1 here in the postseason. Bouncing ball over to Manol. Finds Vermeulen, spotting up on that right wing, where he loves to quarterback the offense. Out towards Boucher. Flips it to his left. Voigt. One of 4 captains on Skyline. Over to Vermeulen. Rising pass now finds its way behind the net to Edwards. Edwards takes a heavy hit, and Aaron's knocks the ball away. That's a heavy hit there.
Put a stick and a little body on him. Forced ground ball. He's all the way across the side. And the Spartans answer back, stealing it away. Andrews.
Now, Edwards had taken some heavy contact, and the Eastlake fans were upset that they felt that there might have been a stick infraction because he got clipped up high there by the neck, but no whistles, no flags. Eastlake with possession of the ball. Miles Johnson gets it over to his netminder Call. Alex Call with an errant pass, and Eastlake with an unforced error, and Skyline's going to get the ball back in the offensive zone. That is a crucial mistake. Under 7 minutes remaining here in the third quarter. We're tied at 5. Skyline has not led all game. It is Vermeulen.
Vermeulen once again taking control for the Spartans. He'll send it back around.
Boucher over to his left. Holding on to it is Conrad Lee. As Skyline, very stationary in their offensive attack. Starting forward now with it is Frazier.
Frazier from that X position looking for the open man.
Sends it to Boucher, who bobbles the pass and cradles it back down. Fakes the shot, passes over to his right, Stacy. Back to Boucher. Patrolling over by that center circle, stepping forward. Fakes one way, cuts to his left, gets around a defender, and a bouncing shot, just getting a piece of it with the shaft of his stick, was called. Might have been heading wide anyway.
Boucher looking to isolate the defender, getting around on the left side there, taking a good take at the cage.
And this is another example. Right now, the box area right in front of the net, not a whole lot is open unless you pop out from directly behind, as Vermeulen is trying to do. But look at him there, taking another big hit. Eastlake forcing it out to center. Skyline scoops it up. Great battle there for Vermeulen. As Vermeulen is back in for the Spartans. 5.5 remaining here in the third quarter. A whistle will blow.
Head official Jeff Bambrick. He's the lead official for strikes today.
We get a quick stoppage, a substitution as Conrad Lee heads off. He's replaced by Connor Voigt. As the senior steps on for Skyline, sends it over to his right, taking the step up. Boucher fakes the shot, gets up. He scores! Nick Boucher gives Skyline their first lead of the morning.
Boucher was standing down there calling for the ball the whole time, right on the alley. Takes 2 steps in and nails it.
Nick Boucher, a midfielder who entered today's contest with 63 goals to his name over the course of his high school career, comes up with a big one. It gives Skyline the lead in the 4A state championship.
Right under the top pipe. Wow, what a shot.
Terrific release there, and you could see Boucher with the initial fake to get around the defender and buy himself just enough space to get it over the shoulder of Paul. And a face-off is won by Connor Voigt.
Voigt having an excellent day out at midfield.
He gets it quickly to Vermeulen. Give and go with Voigt. Stepping forward, pass in front, finds a man back door. Save made by Call.
Ryan Edwards with a low grounder into Call.
A vitally important stop there by Call to keep this game within 1.
Absolutely. Don't want to get
As look out. An aggressive attack there on defense by Skyline, trying to force the issue. Now racing forward with it is Landon Johnson. Landon Johnson, who had 47 goals in the regular season, has so far been held out from the back of the net.
Jackson Stacy carries now, getting into the good grass around to X. Lincoln Fraser. Oh, excuse me. Aiden Santini.
Out to Karahale over to his right. Holding on the outside. Trying to find open space as Ortloff stepping forward. Check that. That's Grassy. Towards center. Takes a heavy stick check and stolen away.
JP Jones celebrating for the stick check down here. Spartans now on the move.
Over to their left, taking the step forward, bobbling with the pass for a moment.
Jones still celebrating.
I mean, he's fired up, and he should be. That's another terrific effort to stymie the offense of Eastlake. And boy, has he taken the step up. After a rocky first quarter, this Skyline defense has been stingy.
They'll get a timeout just before the ball travels out of bounds. Skyline taking a timeout here in the second half.
3:47 remaining here in the third quarter. We'll take a timeout. You are listening to STSPN's coverage of the 4A State Championship. Don't go anywhere.
Lacrosse Wolf is the North.
Dueling chants between Skyline and Eastlake. The Skyline Spartan students who have lined the sideline, chanting back and forth with Eastlake students. And I tell you, this is as fun an atmosphere as you can find in this for the girls' team.
Absolutely. Everybody nearly standing in the stands, chanting back and forth. The competition isn't just in the turf, it's in the stands as well. Happy to be a part of it.
And I tell you, Skyline feels emboldened because for the first time today, they have themselves the lead. 6-5 with 3:47 remaining in the third quarter. And Skyline has applied a ton of pressure on Alex Call and company. And the Spartans with possession of the ball, they hang on to it behind the net. Over to Vermeulen, standing near sideline. Back out to Boucher, who has, at present, the game's deciding goal. To his left, Menol. Around behind. Edwards.
Having a great night at X. Getting the ball around, finding an open look.
Stepping up, here's Minold over to his right. A chance for Vermeulen, perhaps. As he dishes in front of the net, it's broken up. Loose ball in front is lifted up by Quinn Bean. And Bean cool, calm, and collected in front of his own net. That's always what you want out of the best defenders. They never panic. You always want that slow heartbeat in front. And it's back up the other way. Here comes Miles Johnson. 2:45 to go in the quarter. Ortloff. Ortloff at the near sideline gets it out towards Riley Karahale. Karahale, who had 8 points in 3 playoff games heading into tonight's contest. Hanging on to the ball. As Ursich spotted up right in front of him. Karahale picks up speed. Sends it to Grassy. Grassy finds a man, rises himself, they score. What a sight. Landon Johnson. He's tied.
The righty.
And I tell you, Landon Johnson is someone who opened the season on a 10-game goal-scoring streak, goals in 16 of 17 in the regular season, points in every single appearance. It took him a while to find the back of the net. 2:15 left in the third quarter, but if you were to try to predict who was going to be an impact player, Landon Johnson would be right up there. Big-time face-off. Scramble forward, and it's won by Skyline. We're knotted up at 6. Spinning with it. Up ahead, Connor Voigt. Voigt's got a lane. He cuts to the net, looks to pass instead. Boy, he could have charged a long way closer to the net if he wanted to.
Very, very unselfish. Voigt running the ball down, looking for the open man far side across traffic.
Now, is that perhaps too unselfish, or would you like to see him try to stuff it in at that near side?
It's a championship game. It's a team-played sport. Let's do it together. Let's get the right look. Let's set up the play. Let's work what we practice.
Stick to the X's and O's as Boucher hangs behind the net. Over to Frazier. Out for Stacy, stepping forward. Vermeulen gets around the defender. Vermeulen steps forward on his offside. Hangs on and flicks it behind the net for Boucher. Boucher at the post, and a shot that's met by Call. And it bounces out of bounds. Spartans will keep it. 1:05 left in the quarter.
Vermeulen.
He's cradling. He bounces it, and it just missed. And he's sold out for that shot attempt there.
Yeah, he's still on the turf. His teammates helping him up now. Able to back the chase up, those Spartans maintaining possession.
And a good job by Miles Johnson, who's been tasked with trying to shut down Vermeulen. Here's a bouncing shot and a tricky save made by Call. The short hop that caught him off the outside of the butterfly net.
A little bit of a hop to get over the defender, just too much of a hop on the turf. It sails over the cage.
And here's a chance, and they score! Lincoln Frazier restores a Skyline lead with a minute to go.
Frazier, a sophomore, coming out making his presence known. Here's the championship. Skyline taking the lead once again.
Lincoln Frazier, his second goal of the contest. And Skyline is back in front. It's 7-6 Spartans with 33 ticks to go in the third quarter. That is a clutch effort there for Frazier.
Absolutely. Getting around and getting one past Paul was hard enough, but being able to get through two defenders while he's at it. Wow, what a goal.
Lincoln Frazier goals in 16 of 19 total games this season for Skyline. A heavy battle on the center dot. Not only that, I mean, you look at the kind of offensive production that Lincoln Frazier's been able to provide this season. He had a 10-point game against Lake Washington back in April. And it's another face-off win for Skyline. They'll carry up the left side.
He has been the point leader for Skyline all season long. You would think that would translate into this game, but it looks like he's taking the unselfish route and getting his teammates some stats as well.
And I mean, yeah, that's all well and good because honestly, Lincoln Frazier in that 10-point game, 9 of them were assists back on April 16th in a win against Lake Washington. And here's a chance for he scores! Skyline, their biggest lead in the contest. They took the 6.
Rebounded, roll back that last grounding shot. He tried to get it back to net. He couldn't find it. Retakes, finds it this time. Way to go, Vermeulen.
Nick Vermeulen with his 16th hat trick of the season. It is 8-6 Skyline. And we'll get a whistle, and that's the end of the third quarter. What an explosive end to the third.
Absolutely insane. Haven't been able to sit down the whole game, nor was I planning to, but what an exciting game.
This is a thriller, a 2-goal lead for Skyline heading into the final quarter. A reminder that the Seattle Lacrosse Club is the longest-running post-collegiate lacrosse team in the Pacific Northwest, dating back to the early 1970s. The current 30-man team has players from Bellingham to Tacoma and everywhere in between. 19 players have played NCAA college lacrosse at schools such as Notre Dame, Denver, Army, Vermont, the Marist College Red Foxes, Nazareth, Cabrini, and Mercyhurst, while the majority of the others played MCLA at the University of Washington. Most of the players are locally born and continue to coach for WHS BLA programs. Jeez, that's nice. 8-6 heading to the fourth quarter. Back in a minute. You're watching and listening to STSPN's coverage of the 4A State Championship.
Lacrosse Wolf is the Northwest premier supplier.
Casey Bryant here with Tim Luce for the 4A State Championships, where Skyline has opened up an 8-6 lead over Eastlake, and what a turnaround this has been. Saying a come from behind effort for Skyline heading into the fourth quarter.
You know, we started out the game saying don't count out the Spartans, but hey, let's turn it around and don't count out the Wolves. This is the championship. Anything goes in the playoff game.
Now this Skyline Spartans offense, their 3 attackmen that started the game, Edwards, Vermeulen, and Frazier, combined for 131 goals in the regular season, and they're going to get another chance to work here. Quick passing, backdoor shot is blocked. Wearing that one was Jake Ahrens.
I want to say a lot of the Spartans' success is going to be attributed to that center man, Connor Voigt, winning faceoffs so many times today.
They've gotten the face-off wins, and they've gotten big saves out of Cole Miller, who now has some pressure coming his way. Grassi to Santini. Over for Grassi on the near side. Whirling with it. He's got J.P. Jones marking him all the way. Sends it out towards Landon Johnson. Stepping up on the perimeter. 50 seconds into the fourth quarter, and Eastlake has not had to trail by multiple goals this entire playoff run. Stepping up is Schwer. Spinning with it. Sends it out towards Karahale. Karahale has a body in front of him in Ursic, who has been very mobile here on the back end. Stepping up with speed Johnson to Santini. J.P. Jones taking the step up, letting him know he's there. Out towards Karahale at the center of the field, stepping up. Gets around Ursic. Karahale with no shooting lane.
Holly was calling for the ball there. It's interesting to see what happens once he gained the ice, though, but he gave it away, and he'll find it.
What a shot by Landon Johnson.
Landon Johnson, you were just talking about him coming out. He's now making his presence even more known right here in the fourth, showing why he's an All-American.
2 goals in the second half for Eastlake for Landon Johnson. And that pick set for him by Riley Karahale proves to be the all-important play.
Absolutely. Spartans now leading once again, 10-19.
It is 8-7. A nail-biter here at Starfire Sports Stadium. And a terrific effort by the sophomore Landon Johnson here in the second half.
Connor Boyd taking a body at the end of faceoff.
An emphatic signal that Skyline will take possession. To the left side, it is Lincoln Fraser. Fraser's got a pair of goals for Mullen with a hat trick so far today. And Vermeulen's got it. Trotting around behind the net, directing traffic. Soft pass over for Fraser. There's a man up top in middle. Boucher finds Stacy. Back to Boucher. The body right in front of him is sticking with him stride for stride is Nolan Budish. Mullen cradling on that far side. Trying to look for an opening.
Jake Aarons, the junior for Eastlake, trying to keep Vermeulen out there.
Now Boucher will pop out. He'll call for it at the top of the field in the offensive zone. Vermeulen will look him off for now.
Karahale setting a screen down low so we can get out.
And Skyline is fine taking their sweet time on the attack. Time is the enemy of Eastlake. As here's Vermeulen faking the shot. He'll get it right back. Over at the far side post. Dishes around behind. Lincoln Fraser, good job to kill some clock. Fraser stops with it. Sends it over to a cutting man and a rising shot. Leaping effort by Nick Boucher.
Boucher with a lefty, taking that just an extra hot to get over to the defender. What a play.
Terrific effort for his second goal in the contest by Nick Boucher.
Coming around, switching hands. Insane.
His 11th multi-goal performance of this 23-24 campaign. 8:51 remains on the clock here at Starfire Sports Stadium, and Skyline keeping Eastlake at arm's reach. A 2-goal advantage restored after trailing for the entirety of the first half. Bouncing ball into the Skyline zone. It's picked up by Aiden Santini. Santini with 2 goals in the first half. Quiet since. Ortloff. Multi-performance out of him as well as a bouncing ball at center is picked up by Skyline, and Edwards will show forward. Makes a heavy chick to the midsection. Trying to get around a man, he does, and Bean.
Eastlake's got to be careful making errors like that. We've got to make sure our passes are on point.
Time continues to tick away. 8:10 remaining here in the fourth quarter of the 4A state championship. Skyline, who was the runner-up last season, looking to flip the script and win back the title. Something that they won in 2022. It is Vermeulen. And over now for a chance for Frazier. He's wrapped up completely by Bean. Vermeulen over to Boucher. Taking the step up. Boucher looking for a lane. Hunting for his third, perhaps, out to Vermeulen. Sends it behind the net. Keeping the clock ticking. And this is something that I think the Spartans were missing in the first half. This is offensive zone time. Having them in. Here's a English from the baseball. It's Ryan Edwards. And he goal lead.
And a quick stick on the beeline towards the cage. He'll nail one. Let's increase the lead by 3 for the Spartans.
A terrific setup from behind the net there by Lincoln Frazier. Third point of the game for Frazier.
The offense continually compressed the defense, working the ball around. As soon as the man slides, the defensive man pulls the slide. They get the ball back out, found the right look, and nailed them.
A terrific there for Ryan Edwards, who, for my money, turned the tides of this entire game and gave the Skyline Spartans a little bit of swagger when he scored that behind-the-back goal in the first half. I think that gave the Spartans the confidence that they needed heading into the second half.
Absolutely, Jason. He definitely lit the flame.
And back up with speed. Here he is again, Frazier. Edwards down low. Movement as Vermeulen will pop out for support over on that far side. Vermeulen trots behind the end line.
With a 3-point lead, we'll start to see Spartans control the ball a little bit more here and play the long game, so to speak, in eating up that clock.
All right, there's no need to rush now. This is the biggest cushion that they have had this entire contest. Here's Vermeulen. Cutting to his left. Vermeulen waits and shoots and sends it wide. The possession will stay with Skyline. You don't have to pull the trigger unless it is a picture-perfect look here if you're Skyline.
Right, taking a little bit of body there from Miles Johnson as well on the shot.
Here's a pass out to Vermeulen, holding, and a Vermeulen low shot is kicked away. And Alex Call gets it, and it is a Eastlake ball. As the Wolves will begin their transition upfield.
So Quinn Bean, the junior, got to pull out and was able to win the backup there. Turns under pressure. He'll get a ground ball. Eastlake picking it up over the midfield line.
Eastlake in need of support in the back end, but here they come aggressively on the attack. Airborne pass is in and out of the cradle. As that was Santini trying to settle it down. Behind the net, bouncing, and scooped up by Skyline.
J.P. Jones having a day behind the cage again, winning possession for Skyline.
To his left, Frazier, who slows up, and that is a terrific effort. They limit the Wolves to no shots. With now 5:20 to go in the fourth quarter of the state championship. Holding on to it is Connor Voigt. Getting it over to his right for Boucher. Flicks it behind the net. Vermeulen is chased by Miles Johnson. The Wolves are going to have to be a little more aggressive in trying to steal the ball away. As here's Vermeulen. Power scores! Vermeulen, his
muscling his way by 2 defenders, sneaking around. He'll bounce one right over the goalie's head. Pipe down, back of the net.
Terrific effort there by Vermeulen. And I tell you, this is someone who has put the team on his back all season long.
We got timeout called here by Eastlake. Gonna look to regroup on that sideline.
They are in dire need of a breather here as they have only scored 2 goals here in the second half, while Skyline has scored 6. 5 minutes remaining here in the state championship. We'll take a breather ourselves, and when we come back, we'll have the thrilling conclusion of the 4A state championships on STSPN.
SWCC is an acronym, and it stands for Special Warfare Combatant Craft Crewman.
You know, you can stand across from the guy and say, you know what, he's got your back, and you know that's the guy you're counting on. If something goes wrong, he's going to be there.
In the end, we're fighting for each other.
Full back This is Witch Doctor requesting immediate hot extract. Take it on.
Here on the team, about 22 of us on the boat. You know them personally, so you know exactly whose life you have in your hands.
Everyone's come together and everyone's sole mission is to do their job individually as best they can to benefit everyone else in the boats.
I got a brotherhood, and it's a real brotherhood, and it's a loyal and honest brotherhood, and that's what matters.
Back at Starfire Sports Stadium, 5 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter of the 4A Washington State Championships, as Skyline has opened up an 11-7 lead over Eastlake. 6 goals in the second half to power them ahead. Casey Bryant here, joined by Tim Luce from STSPN's coverage of Washington High School boys lacrosse. And Tim, this is going to have to be a flurry push here for Eastlake in the fourth quarter.
And coming out of face-off like that is not going to help them. Spartans taking control.
I think the stick knocked out of the hands of Josh Minold.
Evan Schubert.
And Eastlake will get possession as they charge forward. They need a quick one. Here's a pass down low for Santini, who has the ball knocked out of his stick. They'll get it back. But you see the way that the Skyline Spartans are swarming. Get a whistle and a stop as the flag was thrown for the lead. Possession will be the Skyline. It is Grassi.
It's Eastlake's possession.
Back out for Eastlake, a chance here with Southwest missed.
They got a push called in the backfield there. Santini.
And the Wolves in need of more offense. They had 9 shots on goal in the first half against Cole Miller. Miller stopped 4 of them as a rising shot misses. Eastlake will keep possession. Since then, they haven't gotten a ton that is actually registered as a shot on net against Miller.
Right, we're starting to see a lot less shots inside and a lot more coming from the outside. I don't know if that's a change from the offensive approach. And I'm going to say the Spartans win the chase here. J.P. Jones, once again, getting his stick out for Skyline, and they're able to get a good takeaway here, bringing the offense coming the other way.
And I tell you, Jones is someone who is a complete ball hawk whenever he's out there. His best performance was a 6th-rounder with a goal and an assist back on March 22nd against Seattle Academy, a game that Skyline won 11-5. But boy, oh boy, has he been sturdy on the back end here today as a foreign pass is sent way over the head of Lincoln Frazier. And Eastlake will get the ball back. A Hail Mary heave is easily picked in. And there's Jones. Up to Vermeulen. And Jones looks right towards the crowd as the ball goes carried up by Vermeulen. Boy, Jones has been engaged with the student section all game, hasn't he? High school sports is all about.
Yeah, they all get excited. You can tell they're all engaged in the game. As soon as Vermeulen takes control, the offense is in control, and the fans settle. It's outstanding to see the support that this team has.
Charging forward is Boucher, and he just misses wide. Boucher was hunting for a hat-trick goal. Skyline keeps it with 3 minutes left here in the fourth quarter. They lead by 4, hunting for more cushioning in their pursuit of the 4A state championship. Frazier gets around an defender. Frazier with a bouncing shot that just missed.
With a big swim, Frazier swimming over a defender has easily got 4 inches on him. Insane. Great move by Frazier here.
That was terrific. Look at the footwork of him, too, as he charges towards the net. He's quick, so shifty. Vermeulen holds onto it with Miles Johnson right by his hip. 2:45 to go. Vermeulen looks for a lane, gets in front. Vermeulen gets it in. His fifth.
Vermeulen with the celebration at the end of the goal there. Sneaking by, taking one himself, and popping it into the back of the net. Lefty right in front of the cage. Jake Orange, the defender there right in front, trying to stop him. Unsuccessful. Vermeulen, a hard one.
Now Vermeulen had a double hat trick in their win against Sumner. 6 goals, 6 assists, 6 ground balls in that playoff victory to get them here Now he's got 5 tallies, 3 of them coming in the second half. This has been a phenomenal effort from the senior Vermeulen, who over his last 3 seasons accumulated 126 regular season goals. There's a bouncy shot to save made by Miller. His finest at the half.
A rip from Nolan Budish, the sophomore deep hole.
And that's the first time really that Miller had to make a tough save on a low shot. And it's 1 and done for the Eastlake Wolves. 2:10 to go on the clock. As here's Frazier. Has a stick up against his chest. He keeps it behind the net. Possession has been all Skyline here in the second half.
From what started out as don't count out the Spartans have turned into can the Spartans be stopped here in the fourth quarter.
And flags thrown as Frazier's hauled down. And Frazier again gets caught up in the stick of Jake Aarons. Body streaming across the turf. And we'll get whistles. 2 different flags that are thrown up in the air.
Yeah, both teams getting a little excited around the cage right now, coming to the end of the game. A lot of passion on the lines of both teams, and now the crowd is getting into it as well.
As Vermeulen comes over and serving as the conductor, implores them to get on their feet.
Absolutely.
And the Spartans will have possession of the ball with 1:44 left on the clock. It is a 12-7 Skyline Spartans lead. A game that was 4-1 Eastlake back in the first quarter, tied 5-5 at half. And thanks to some timely early saves from Cole Miller and a tremendous second half effort from Vermeulen and Boucher, the Spartans are moments away from a state title.
And they're going to start here, 1:44 left. Man up. Eastlake got a man down in the box. Looks like 2 down. Yeah. Eastlake now 2 men down, 2 in the penalty box. Spartans 2 men up, 5 points ahead in 1.5 minutes left to play.
It is a comfortable position here for Coach Dylan Hummel and the Skyline Spartans. And Dylan Hummel, in his first season as head coach, took Snohomish to a 2021 West Coast 3A Championship semifinals in 22 and 23. Someone who played his high school lacrosse in Wenatchee, played college lacrosse at Rosemont and Philly at the D3 level.
Back to even set, both men out of the penalty box.
The final minute of the fourth quarter of the 4A state championship. Hanging on to it. Sandwiched by a hit is Frazier. A loose ball picked up by the Wolves. And we get a whistle in the sky as a flag is thrown.
That'll be a penalty against Eastlake once again. Under a minute, and Spartans now on fire, trying to get the crowd more involved as they finish the last minute of the 4A championships.
And they can sense what is about to transpire. 40 seconds left in the fourth quarter, 12-7. And awaiting the resumption of play as Skyline will hold on to the ball. It is being cradled by Connor Voigt, an unsung hero here in this contest for the Spartans.
Absolutely. Had a wonderful day out at face-off for Skyline today. Easily a contributor to this victory.
A lot of ground balls won, a lot of face-offs won. Boy, was he good. As holding on to it is Ryan Edwards. Back out to Voigt. 15 seconds left on the clock. The Spartans playing keep away as the sidelines begin to rejoice. 5 seconds to go. Brown behind to Lincoln Frazier as the crowd begins to chant.
He sends it airborne.
For the third time in 8 years, the Skyline Spartans are 4A state champions.
The student body takes the field. I think one of the students got taken out by the goalie. There's a shoe left out. What an exciting display for the Spartans today. Insane matchup here, 4A at the Starfire Center here in Renton.
After last season's campaign, finished on a sour note, losing in the state championship final, the Skyline Spartans are able to rewrite the script and come up with a key 12-7 victory. And I tell you, player of the game for my money here, Tim, you got to look at Nick Vermeulen and his 5-goal performance and the way that he was able to jumpstart in the second half particularly.
Is it Vermeulen or is it Connor Voigt? For me, I'm taking honor of the game, and player of the game's got to be for Voigt. Connor Voigt, yeah, the senior. Just having a phenomenal day out at faceoff. If you can start your offense off with possession and give your defense a break right out of the game, he did a great job at providing that for his team all game long. He's definitely got my vote. Connor Voigt.
Well, the beautiful thing about this is that there are so many different moments that you can look at. You can look at the flurry of second quarter saves that Cole Miller made, where he stopped 4 of them in the second quarter. That was so huge to try to keep this game within 3 goals, to where you can look at Miller as someone who was superb between the pipes. You can look at Edwards and the momentum shifting highlight reel play down low. There were so many key contributors here for Skyline.
Absolutely, yeah. The BTB down low on the side of the crease, that definitely the shot of the game, in my opinion. I don't know if that necessarily constitutes as the player of the game, but a team full of dogs. Many players certainly eligible for player of the game. And, I don't want to take away from the Wolves' battle here. They did a wonderful job. Credit to Alex Call standing in the crease for Eastlake today. Wonderful game. Outstanding effort put out by both teams.
And you feel for the 9 seniors that are on the Eastlake Wolves who, credit where credit is due. They make it all the way to the state championship at the 4A level for Eastlake. And for Jason Montoya, who's the head coach of the Wolves and Company, a remarkable campaign, a strong start, just couldn't overcome a second half push.
Absolutely. Still keep their heads high. Should be very, very proud of how far their team has come this season. Outstanding, honor to call this game.
Now we'll take one quick timeout. When we come back, we'll have more of the post-game report of the 4A state championships as the Skyline Spartans are victorious. We'll be back in a moment. You're listening and watching STSPN's coverage of Washington High School Boys Lacrosse. Back at Starfire Sports Stadium, Casey Bryant joined by Tim Luce, and the celebration is on. The student section storms the turf, and the Skyline Spartans take a 12-7 victory over the Eastlake High School Wolves. Now the Wolves had jumped out to a 4-1 advantage. An opening tally just 40 seconds into the contest off the stick of Tyler Ortloff, Anthony Grassi, and Aiden Santini, both with 2 goals apiece in the first half. But Skyline comes roaring back. 2 goals off the stick of Lincoln Frazier, 2 goals off the stick of Nick Boucher, but a 5-tally performance out of one of their captains, senior Nick Vermeulen, someone who was able to play with his brother Joe last year in pursuit of a state title. And Vermeulen finishes the job for the Spartans, who have huddled up in the far side corner of your screen in jubilance with a 12-7 victory to capture their state title. It is the third time in the last 8 seasons that the Skyline Spartans have won the 4A title. They won in 2017 and in 2022. Last season, they were the first school to ever win the boys and girls 4A state titles in the same season, as the trophy is held aloft. And for the Spartans, the joys of victory opposite the field, the agony of defeat for the Eastlake Wolves, who will take a seat and hear one final address from their head coach, Jason Montoya. While Tim Luce is in pursuit of the player of the game for today's contest, he'll chat with Nick Vermeulen in just a moment. And Vermeulen goes out on top. Someone who was a 12-point performer in their playoff win against Sumner, and unsure of just how many assists he had on the other 7 tallies that were scored by Skyline, but this was a phenomenal outing out of Vermeulen. And you can look up and down at the roster. I tell you, someone else who was superb down the stretch, J.P. Jones, the senior defender for the Skyline Spartans. A big body, a long reach. He was excellent. His physicality, his defensive positioning, he locked things down and made Cole Miller's job much easier in the second half. There's a lot of high-octane offense on that Eastlake sideline. And for someone like Jones to completely shut things down, it was a phenomenal effort.
How's this, guys? Can you see me here?
Well, it looks like Tim has tracked down Nick Vermeulen, and he's handed him off a Player of the Game t-shirt. All smiles for Nick Vermeulen. Tim, we'll toss it on down to you. Tim, there with Nick Vermeulen.
He's so excited down here on the field with Nick Vermeulen as he's high-fiving fellow players that have come down. I just lost you. I don't know. I lost you guys. Can you hear me? I can't hear you.
We got you, Tim. Hugs all around on the field there. This is an emotional moment, I'm sure, for Nick Vermeulen. Tim, do we got you?
Can you hear me? I can't hear you up in the booth. Yeah? So they can hear me. Sorry about that, Nick. We got to get through some technical difficulties. What an outstanding season, coming out exactly the way we hoped for today. Victorious, leading by 5 at the end. How's that feel?
Oh, it feels amazing. I mean, my team put in the work for this all year, and the outcome is what it is. It's what we deserve. It's what we worked for. We put it out on the field today.
Absolutely. Taking credit here. Good job with the assist, playing unselfish. Didn't really see you coming out to fire until we got into the fourth quarter. You saved a little bit for the beginning of the game and came out on top at the end. What's your strategy here coming up against the Eastlake defense? What was your thoughts coming into it?
Yeah, so
for his team and chipping Lake defense today, coming out victorious. Can't get the smile on kid's face. Wonderful job yet again, Nick Vermeulen. Be proud of yourself. Congratulations.
Well, a fired up Nick Vermeulen there, who we apologize for some microphone difficulties there, but Nick Vermeulen fired up, and you can see why. A dynamite performance in his final appearance with Skyline, and he's able to exit a champion, another banner to be hung at Skyline Stadium. Well, be sure to stick with us because at 1:30 p.m. at STSPN, we'll have live coverage of the 1A, 2A championship as Enumclaw and Bellingham will square off in pursuit of their state title. A reminder that the Seattle Lacrosse Club is the longest-running post-collegiate lacrosse team in the Pacific Northwest, dating back to the early 1970s. The current 30-man team has players from Bellingham to Tacoma and everywhere in between. 19 players played NCAA college lacrosse at schools such as Notre Dame, Denver, Army, Vermont, the Marist College Red Foxes, Nazareth, Cabrini, and Mercyhurst, while the majority of the others played MCLA at the University of Washington. Most of the players are locally born and continue to coach for WHS BLA programs. Geez, that's nice. A special thanks to our producer Todd Elvig, and for Tim Luce here at Starfire Sports Stadium, congratulations heartily to the Skyline Spartans, 4A state champions. For all of us here at STSPN, stay with us. We've got a full slate of high school lacrosse coming at you today at Starfire Sports Stadium. I'm Casey Bryant. We'll see you real soon.